Hello, this is Claus Jensen presenting a very exciting game from the traditional Hastings tournament. This is a game from round 4, which was played on the last day of 2011, and white was Englishman Samuel Franklin, rated 2179, playing against his countryman, the Grandmaster Simon Williams. So of course black was a heavy favorite going into this game. And what we have here is a classic open Sicilian battle with opposite castling and both sides going for the kill on their opponent kings. So the game started off with e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, e6, knight c3, a6, bishop e3, b5, queen d2, knight f6, and with f3 we have some sort of English attack, and of course no less would be suitable in this battle between two Englishmen. Knight bd7 followed, white castled queenside, bishop b7, g4, knight b6, queen f2, a normal move in this position, and it adds pressure on b6, but black is happy to retreat his other knight, since it would have been chased away after a white g5 anyway. So knight f to d7, bishop d3, rook c8, and with knight c to e2, white is avoiding any exchange sack tricks on c3, which is normal for black in the open Sicilian. Bishop e7, and we're still having a position which has been reached several times in chess history. And with king b1, white plays a move that he will be forced to play anyway, sooner or later, because it serves more than one purpose. It defends a2, and it avoids any tricks with the pinned pawn on c2. And in case of a white b3 at any point, it prevents any immediate checks on a3 from the black bishop. Now black castled kingside, and now we have this open battle, and which side is able to strike first? Well, white here played g5, which is a pawn sack, and what white was hoping for was black to accept the pawn sack. Bishop takes g5, and this apparently looks fine for black, but it's in white's interest to open the g file, and he will gladly give a pawn for it, because in return he has a much better attack on the black king after, for example, bishop takes g5, queen takes g5, and now white has ideas like h4, queen f6, rook h to g1, followed by moves like queen g3, h5, a6, h6, with a good initiative for the pawn. So black didn't accept the pawn. He played knight a4 instead. And then white played h4, which is logical. It advances his pawn and defends the g5 pawn. Knight d to c5, and now white plays a move that I don't really understand. I cannot see the logic behind the move. Bishop c1. It wasn't necessary to waste a move to defend b2 and to defend a bishop that was not under attack. So I think it would make more sense to play the move that has actually been played several times in this position, queen g3, and after d5 then e5, which has been scoring very well for white. So that was an option, but perhaps white didn't remember the lines here. But bishop c1 was played, b4 from black, knight g3, knight takes d3, c takes d3, and d5. And as a rule of thumb, when black is able to play d5 in an open Sicilian, he's usually okay. It's a kind of a success move for black in these kind of positions. White plays e5, closes the center, hoping that his kingside attack will prevail. Queen b6, and this is of course only possible because of white's bishop c1 a few moves ago. Had the bishop been on e3, this would not be possible. And white in fact does play his bishop back to e3, admitting that bishop c1 was not such a great idea. And now black has an interesting piece sack, knight c3 check. But I don't think he has enough after b takes with check, king a1, and bishop a3, for example. Because now white has rook b1. And then the bishop check, rook takes, c takes, queen takes, and the chances of winning are on the white side. So the piece sack knight c3 idea doesn't work right now. Bishop c5, and perhaps white was a little afraid of this knight c3 idea, so he played rook c1, forcing him a little bit on the defense, but of course wanting to prevent this knight c3 idea. And now that black no longer has the option of playing knight c3, he finds another attacking idea. He plays b3 instead. And if a3 from white now, then black should bring his squared bishop into the attack, playing a5 followed by bishop a6. In the game, white took on b3. Then bishop takes d4, and queen takes b3. And we have a very interesting position, and it's very hard to judge who is better right now, if any of the sides are better. I don't know. But what followed in the game was queen d2 here. And now black played bishop c6. And another way of activating the bishop was still this a5 idea. a5 here. And white cannot take the pawn on a5, because then would follow queen takes d3 and losing a bishop on d4. So the a5 idea followed by bishop a6 is still was still an alternative. But bishop c6 was played. Knight e2, bishop b5, and knight f4, defending the pawn on d3, and rook b8. And at this point, black, at least optically, seems to have better progress in his attack than white does. But after rook c7, it's not that easy to find a useful continuation in black's attack. He plays a5, and of course, again, queen takes a5 doesn't work, because bishop takes d3 check, knight takes, queen takes, rook c2, and queen takes d4, losing him a piece. So instead, white turns his attention to the king side and plays h5 here. Bishop a6, opening the b file, but since white has already two pieces defending b2, he judges now that it's his time to continue his attack. So he plays g6. And now we have this fantastic situation with both sides attacking their opponent kings. And black continues to play at full risk here. He plays rook b4. A safer option was perhaps to play h6, because then after rook g1, f takes, rook f7, rook takes f7, king takes f7. I don't really know who's better here. It's very difficult to judge, but it looks safer for black, because what happens now is that after rook b4 in this position, then h6 came. And look at this. Full commitment on both sides. This is great chess. G takes h6 fails to the line G takes f7 check, rook takes, rook g1, king h8, and the nice knight g6 check, h takes, queen takes with check, king g8, leading to a mate. So instead of g takes h6, white played f takes g6. And in this position, the best move for white is clearly rook takes g7 check, king h8, and rook c1, with the idea of doubling rooks on the 7th rank, and it's very strong for white. For example, black cannot take here because then rook c to c7. with strong threats on the 7th rank. But unfortunately, the underdog, which is white, he fails in this position. He plays h takes g7 instead, and then black grabs the piece on f4, but white still has another shot. He plays the beautiful move rook takes h7, and of course king takes, queen h2 check, king g8 would lead to a mate for white, so it's not that difficult for the Grandmaster Williams to find the correct defense, which is queen takes d3 check. And after king a1, it's still a very strange situation. White is threatening mate, but black also has threats against the white king. And after queen f1 check, king a2, bishop c4 check, b3, knight c3 check, bishop takes, rook a4 check, king b2 and queen a1 check, king c2 and rook a2 check. It's black who is winning the game, and in fact Franklin resigned the game here because he's made it in a few moves. And for example, bishop b2, queen takes b2, king d1 and queen takes d2 checkmate. So it ended up with the black victory, but I think it was a great display of classical attacking chess in an open Sicilian, and I really feel sorry for the heavily underrated white player who had his chances but messed it up in the end. I hope you enjoyed this game just as much as I did, and I hope you visit my chess website at clausjensen.com, where you'll find all my videos and other chess related stuff. Bye bye for now.